Welcome to the Trading with Venus podcast, where we help you establish strong trading habits, generate consistent profits, and create the lifestyle you desire for yourself and your family. Now your host, Raman Gill.
Welcome to Trading with Venus podcast, episode 10. Today we have with us the self-styled lazy trader, Rob Colville. Rob has trained thousands of private investors around the globe. He is famed for his simple and honest approach to trading and investing. A member of the Society of Technical Analysts, Rob is renowned for his ability to bring the subject of financial markets trading to life in his humorous and direct style of teaching. Rob also works as a business mentor for the Prince's Trust in London, where he actively coaches youth from disadvantaged backgrounds on how to become successful in business. When he's not behind the screen, he can be found playing tennis or working on his photography. Rob, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Raman, for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
So to get started, can you tell us a bit about yourself, because we'd love to get to know you personally?
Absolutely. I've been trading since about 2007. Made every single mistake in the book several times over. And through doing that, I managed to craft a style of trading exclusively on the daily and the weekly timeframes, which has enabled me to really enjoy trading as a lucrative, stress-free hobby rather than a time-consuming, loss-making mistake.
So how did you actually get into trading?
Well, funny you should ask that. I mean, completely by accident. I moved to London to forge some kind of career as a journalist. I just graduated from university first. I thought the world was my oyster and I'll get my dream job as a journalist. Well, unfortunately, life is never that straightforward. And I ended up getting a job, not really at my chosen publication, working at a mere pittance, and I was really struggling financially. So I gave trading a go and thought that it would be an easy way of making fast money. And of course, this was mistake number one of my trading journey, because it really wasn't that straightforward, actually, not knowing what I didn't know. And, I got into finance. I worked at a brokerage house for a bit, which of course wasn't trading. It was more selling stocks, but it gave me an appreciation for what working in finance was. And then actually, after a couple of years of suffering at the might of the markets, I became consistent. Like I mentioned earlier, founded this style which gives me a lot of free time so I can enjoy other pursuits, really, which involved photography, swimming, salsa dancing, don't laugh, and tennis and a bunch of other things as well.
Oh, that sounds really good, Rob. So you mentioned getting consistent. So was there a time when you actually felt like through your journey while you were developing as a trader, was there a time when you felt like you actually failed? Like, did you ever hit that point? So tell us how you got there, and then how did you manage to move past that and still continue on and become consistently profitable?
Hey, absolutely no problem. Well, in terms of times where I felt like I failed in trading, this happened on multiple occasions, a lot of times throughout my formative years, and most acutely to begin with, the fact that I wasn't making a shed load of money instantly, that really sucked. And I guess a lot of that, I was suckered into these kind of like alluring advertisements on the train, which kind of promises you fast and easy riches with the montages of the yachts and the kind of Ferrari parked outside the villa with your new kind of trading account on steroids, thanks to their strategy, which they give you if only you paid them £2,000. And I got suckered into that kind of fool's paradise, admittedly, and I think a lot of people still do. But through overcoming that, really just managing my own expectations, accepting trading was a business for long-term, consistent, steady capital growth rather than a get-rich-quick scheme. That was a big epiphany. I know a lot of people, to their credit, get that early on, but most people don't, quite frankly. A lot of people who I come across in the day-to-day, those kind of misconceptions of trading, which a lot of newbies do, and they essentially crash and burn. Another big failure was my insatiable appetite to try and take advantage of these big reversal trades in the market, rather than just simply trading with the trends. I wanted to essentially get those big 10-bagger trades by just trading a reversal, and I was ignorant to the fact that most reversals do actually fail. And of course, when the reversal, which would bring home the bacon, manifested itself in the market, I was so bloody scared of not taking a profit or a small profit that I would take a profit, and I'd cut the winning trade short way too early. So I would essentially endure many losses trading reversals, and the one winner, which would have made up everything plus a lot more, was cut early short. So in response to that, I traded with the trend, and I still do so. I do trade reversals, but I have an awful lot of criteria which needs to be ticked in the boxes before I do trade them, compared to then, that is.
As you started getting consistent, was there any particular aha moment when you felt things just clicked for you?
One of my biggest aha moments was, in terms of shaping my trading journey, was realizing that simplicity was the key and not to reinvent the wheel. And there is a lot of, in the markets and in the educational arena, there's a lot of intellectual masturbation, really. And I came to the conclusion rather rapidly that keeping things simple, keeping my trades relatively frequent, with a high profit potential, risking only a small amount, really would stand me in good stead for a long-term prosperous career trading. But a lot of people don't get this, and a lot of people who come to me for mentoring, they're high-frequency traders, are burnt out from just trading all the time and not really having much longevity in their success. But through keeping things simple and obvious and low frequency, that was my biggest aha moment, and appreciating that time does not equal money when trading financial markets. And a lot of my trading is simply set the orders up and forget about them. For example, a dollar CAD long I've got at the moment. So I've been in this trade for 7 weeks. It's maybe about 8%, which is pretty good. It's like just less than 1% a week. It's more than what it's 8 times more than my bank would give me per year. It took me 3 minutes to spot the setup. And, 7 or 8 years ago, if I was trading that setup, I would have probably taken a tiny profit of 0.5% out of fear of losing it. Now I'm just riding the wave, and I'm pretty certain there's a lot of more upsides to take advantage of this move. So I'm just leaving it, having scaled out half the position. Simplicity is the big one for me.
That's so true, Rob. I find a lot of people, like you mentioned, are frequency traders. And one of the challenges that I've noticed with people start, like most people, start with a small account, and then everybody tries to do too much. They're looking for huge returns, and in trying to do so, they become high frequency traders and then go into that trap of, getting scared and cutting their winners short and letting their losers run, which makes things very difficult.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you in terms of simplicity and following that trend where you know what's going on in the market, and you're just keeping things simple so you can actually enjoy life.
Absolutely. And, it's just trading what you see, not what you think. The classic chestnut. I know it's a cliche, and I know a lot of my long-suffering clients will hear me say this and shout it from the rooftops, but it's very important to do that as technical traders, rather than subscribing to what people are saying on the forums or what some guru is saying out there in the news or on CNN, because some of them are right some of the time, some of them might be half right a lot of the time, but nobody's right the whole time. And, of course, people out there will always talk about their winning trades, but funnily enough, many of them don't talk about their losses. They conveniently sweep them under the carpet because it's an attack on their ego.
That's true. Now, can you name a person who has had a tremendous impact on you as a trader? And how did this person impact your life?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got several people who I've always looked up to in my trading journey. So I use the name journey. It's a bit of a cliche, but it really has been, and it will be for a lot of people out there. Okay, there's one, Raggy Horner. Her uses of the moving averages and just really keeping things simple with the objectiveness of using moving averages as part of your technical analysis. We've got Kay Lee, who I've worked closely with over the years. He's been a fantastic mentor of mine, and I'm actually working with him at the moment, I'm privileged to say. And he's a great developer of strategies, and he likes to keep things as objective as possible. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. When trading financial markets, you really do have to be as objective as possible in your analysis and remove your emotion from the outcome of the trade. Another one is another individual is Mark Douglas, who wrote the infamous Trading in the Zone, which is largely down to trader psychology, and I'd thoroughly recommend people to read that book prior to any book or course which focuses on strategies, make sure you read about trader psychology before you do that. For those of you who are listening, that's my advice to you, because a lot of people who I've taught and I've come across, and from my own personal mistakes, I was just salivating at the mouth, panting to get my teeth into strategies galore, and I didn't really have a handle on the psychology and the emotions that came with it. And Mark Douglas, in that book, Trading in the Zone, really deals with that very well indeed. And his book is inexpensive. It's like $5, $5, £5, whatever currency you're in, you can get it very cheaply.
Is there also a successful habit that you believe has contributed to your trading success?
Absolutely. A lot of people might not like to hear this, but simply with trading, one of my best habits is being just simply lazy and just looking through the charts once or twice a week, having an idea as to what the market's going to do. If it does it, great, I trade it. If it doesn't, then I have absolutely no fear of missing out whatsoever. I accept it as an opportunity just to preserve my capital and walk away and do something slightly more interesting than looking at a bunch of briefing bars on a chart. Okay, but a big one is not having an emotional attachment on the outcome of the trade or not being in the trade. A lot of people will be fearful of missing out when they're new to financial markets trading. All they want to do is be in the market regardless. And a lot of people, myself included, when I was new to the markets, always had such an emotional attachment to the outcome of a trade. Okay. And, I had this, I got a first degree honours degree. I thought that I was pretty arrogant, to be honest with you, as I first started off trading. And, every losing trade was a massive attack on my ego. It really was. Being wrong, I hated being wrong. And I just had to eat a healthy dose of humble pie, plus seconds of humble pie, and just accept the market isn't my enemy. It doesn't even know me. It will do its thing regardless of who you are, what you do for a living, where you're from, what football team you support. It will just do its thing. And as technical traders, we just adapt to what the market does rather than trying to tame it and force it in our minds, that is.
You mentioned Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone. Is there another book or resource that you would recommend that you think would be helpful for the listeners?
Absolutely. I mean, Trading in the Zone is a fantastic book. It really helped me. I would keep up with some of the webinars on FX Street. Do get a lot of value there, of course. A lot of them offer, a lot of the people on there do give some very good gems. But with that, I would recommend just to have an idea of what your style is or what you'd like to focus on. Because there's a real mixture of traders there. You've got intraday traders, scalpers, and end-of-day set-and-forget traders. Okay, please don't feel like you have to follow all of them, but just follow a handful of them or one or two. If you try and follow everyone, it's just going to make trading that little bit more difficult for you when you're just trying to cover everything. And, the best traders out there only have one or two strategies, which they stick to religiously. Once again, from my own misadventures in trading currencies in the earlier days, I thought misguidedly that the more strategies I had, the better trader I'd be, which is, of course, completely wrong. I only have 2 or 3 strategies at the moment, and that's all I'm interested in. And I would recommend that wholeheartedly to anyone, really.
So now thinking back on your trading journey, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Okay, well, very simple. Very good question. I would have an awareness as to what could be reasonably attained from trading prior to getting into it. I would stick to trend trading on the higher time frames to begin with so that I could really reinforce that it is possible. And don't get me wrong, trading reversals can be very lucrative, but psychologically I think we're more predisposed as beginners to have the euphoria, enjoy the euphoria of small wins and more often through trend trading, or relatively smaller wins, should I say, rather than that emotional pounding of having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losing trades prior to that winning trend reversal trade. Okay, so just to reiterate before I go off on a ramble, I would say just simply stick to trend trading on the hard time frames, i.e. the daily or the weekly. And for me, if I was to do it differently, I would just avoid scalping together, because it would save me a lot of money. It will save me my hair and grey hairs as well.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Rob, what's the best way to reach you?
Just simply email me at rob@thelazytrader.com, and I'll be delighted to get back to you if you have any questions.
So Rob, thank you so very much for taking the time to speak with us today and for sharing your insights, everything you've learned throughout your trading journey. We really appreciate that.
Hey, you're absolutely welcome. Thank you very much indeed for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
We've been talking to Rob Colville, who shared his insights on how to keep trading simple yet profitable. Trading is not about obsession with the markets. Instead, it's about helping you support other, more important areas of your life, like your family, your hobbies, and living your life to the fullest. For show notes for this episode, please visit tradingwithvenus.com podcast page, episode 10. If you liked what you heard, be sure to leave us a positive review on iTunes. This will help the show rankings and allow us to bring more great content to you. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I am truly honored to have you with me. Until next time, this is your host, Raman Gill, wishing you profitable trading.
If you want consistency in your trading, we invite you to join our daily market analysis calls, where we provide the levels to find the best entries and targets on an intraday basis. For a 1-week free trial, please visit www.tradingwithvenus.com. Thanks for joining us today. With much gratitude, your show host, Raman Gill.